Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor, for those of you who may have never been here before, and in today's video I really want to talk about the Sims 4 base game. The base game is the game that you buy immediately, the Sims 4, no packs, no expansion, nothing, just the base game. And that is something that is extremely flawed and has been ever since the launch of the game, but we have gotten quite a few updates to this. However, there are a lot of ways that I think that we could make the base game even better. Obviously not we, as in me and the person watching this video, but you know, the Sims team, the people who create the game. These are all things that I think would make the base game more enjoyable and more interesting to players. If you enjoyed this video at any point throughout, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can find a link to my Twitch down in the description below where you can hang out with me live a few days a week actually. We're having a really good time over there, but definitely go and check that out as well. And let's jump into some of the ways I think we could improve the Sims 4's base game. Now the first thing that I would love to see is another world. So currently you get Oasis Springs, Willow Creek, and New Crest when you purchase the base game of The Sims 4. And these worlds are good, you know, they're fine, but Willow Creek and Oasis Springs have not been updated since the game came out, and New Crest is completely empty. I would love to see another world added to the game with new characters from old games. I would love to see the Burb family, the Newbie family, like bring back some of these characters that are in many ways related to other characters and have them have relationships with everybody and just have another new world for us to play in, because the base game worlds do get stale pretty quickly, especially if you only have the base game. I would love to see this world have a completely different style to the two of these and just be a little bit different and have different vibes, different Sims, and add some new characters as well as some old faces that we love to see, and have less empty lots than the regular base game worlds. That is one thing that always bothers me, is there's not enough families in the base game worlds at all, and we have all of New Crest if we want to add new ones. The next thing I would absolutely love to see is a revamp of some of these homes. All of these homes haven't changed at all since the game was released. There have been so many new additions to the game, like basements and pools and toddlers. I would love to see some toddlers added to the base game worlds as well. And honestly, the park needs to be changed just to add some stuff for toddlers to do, because as the worlds stand right now, there's nothing for toddlers to do if you only have the base game. Toddlers didn't exist for the first few years of The Sims 4, so obviously we kind of can't have anything added for them, and none of the families in the base game even have toddlers, and it just feels kind of unrealistic. So adding toddlers, maybe adding just like one new household to one of the homes that already exist that have toddlers, adding a few toddler things to the parks in both Willow Creek and Oasis Springs would definitely make it a lot easier for toddlers to live. But when it comes to the actual homes that exist in these worlds, there are no basements, there are no pools, and they're all extremely, extremely dark. Let's pop in to the Goth family. Now this is a home where I feel like you would probably have a creepy basement. Like the Goths, they're gothic, they're a little bit spooky, they would have a creepy basement. So adding a basement to this lot just feels right to me, and I think that it would change the way you kind of feel about the Goth family. They do have like the tall area where Alexander lives, but I just think that they genuinely need a basement, and they just don't have one. I also feel like since they're so bougie, they would have like an indoor pool somewhere in their house, and that could be another great thing to add to one of these builds. But honestly, I just think that they need to be updated since we've gotten so many new swatches, so many new items. Like the base game items that came out with the game at the beginning were like kind of bad. So if we could just change it up, change the vibes, it would genuinely make me very happy to see all of the builds updated a little bit for a 2021 audience as opposed to an audience from so many years ago. Like a 2014 audience wanted different things. The next things I want to talk about take place in Create a Sim. I'm not very good at CAS, I will admit it, but there are a few things that I would love to see. The first thing I would love to see in the base game revamp is different ways to have your Sims be related to people. Right now, all we get is like husband, wife, child. There aren't enough. I want to be able to see like step parents added. I would love to see aunts and uncles added, step siblings, half siblings, like so many different things added to just be able to create these types of families in CAS instead of having to go and like create craziness in game and then it show up on the family tree. I just want to be able to make more interesting families and more intricate families in CAS. It's just one of those little things that bothers me quite a bit. Plus boyfriends and girlfriends. You should be able to be in a relationship and have a significant other in The Sims 4 without having to just make two people that don't really know each other and then get them into a relationship. You should be able to just start out as boyfriend and girlfriend, or boyfriend and boyfriend, or girlfriend and girlfriend, and just have that be the way that the game operates. It's not cool. I don't like that. It really bothers me. The next thing that I need is a color wheel for hairs. Obviously we got the skin tone update last year and it added a lot of options. You have so many different skin tones that you can have your Sims have, and the ability to change them with these sliders and save them is incredible. I want the same energy added. Oh, I just completely snatched her wig. I want the same energy added for our hair. It just doesn't make sense that this is not a thing, and it really bothers me. These hair colors, like, they're okay. They exist, they're okay, but I would love to be able to change the hues and like add different versions of them and make them a little lighter or a little darker and just have more options. I really think that we should have a color wheel for both skin tones and hair colors, just so that there can be more representation for every single person who plays The Sims and more customization for all of us. I think it's really, really important for these things to be able to be customized because you are playing with life and you're playing with you. So it would be really great to be able to customize these hair colors, especially for like the colorful ones. Like, these aren't the only tones that people might dye their hair. Like, you might get a purple instead of just pink, or a lighter pink. Like, there's so many options that we can have, and I just want a color wheel or some kind of system like they did with skin tones for hair colors. And the final Create a Sim thing is I want to be able to save my own custom looks. So there are these styled looks that you can have that come from all sorts of packs. And of course there are some from the base game, but this is a crazy version of Bella Goth, but we love her. But they just add these little outfits that you can just pick to make making your Sims a lot easier, and they just look so cute. But one thing I would absolutely love to see is the ability to save your own custom ones. Just like you can save custom skin tones that you create, I would love to be able to be like, okay, I love this version of this outfit, I love this shirt, these pants, these shoes, all of it together, and save it to be able to use on Sims in the future. This is just something that would make it a lot easier for people like me who once they love an outfit, they want to repeat it over and over again, but you might not remember something that you created 3 months ago. So being able to go back in and just hit the same button and have a styled look ready for you would be incredible. They could even just have like a little section where it's like in-game ones and then actual ones that you create there, just so that they're separate but equal, so you can have your own. I would also, just scrolling through this, there's 105 custom looks if you have every single pack, and that's not including the kits that I believe are supposed to come out or have come out already at this point by the time this video goes up, but then there's even probably going to be even more. So there's 105, and it takes quite a while for you to get all the way back to the beginning. Maybe add a system to make that a little bit easier to scroll through, but that's just an afterthought. I would love to be able to create my own custom looks for Create a Sim. So something that existed in the base game of The Sims 4 when it first came out are these whims that you can currently see above Bella's head over here, but now they're actually turned off by default, which is annoying. You have to go into your settings. I'll actually just show you how to do that really quickly. If you go into your game options and you go to gameplay and you hit show whims, these things will show up. And what they are is just like tiny little wants and things that your Sims are wanting to do in that moment. So Bella wants to become flirty. Bella also wants to buy a bee box. What I want from this is I want them to re-enable whims by default, because I think that they do add gameplay and they add a way for the game to influence what you're going to do with your Sims. But I would really like to see them more tailored to your Sims traits, your Sims careers, your Sims wants, fears, which is another thing I would love to add to this game, is a wants and fears system. But I really want to see them tailored to the Sim and not just random. Like, what about Bella Goth makes her want to buy a bee box? She doesn't have a garden. She doesn't like gardening. She doesn't have any gardening skill. It's not something that she would be into. I feel like it should be things like flirt with Mortimer, talk to Alexander, you know, do something spooky because we're the Goth family, and things like that, as opposed to it being like, I want to buy a bee box. I want to get flirty. I guess get flirty is fine, but like, buy a bee box, really? And buy a bee box is one of those ones that shows up for all of my Sims, and that really annoys me. I also believe that they stopped adding whims to this entire system with seasons, which is why the bee box is one of the more prevalent ones, because it's one of the last times that they added any. So I would love to see new ones added for all of the packs, like retroactively go back and add them for all the packs that have come out since, as well as kind of revamp the way they work, because whims are a really powerful thing that can impact your gameplay in ways you might not think, and can make you like do little things that you might not have done before. Like, you know, maybe you want to break up. You know, Bella and Mortimer, they're not into each other anymore. Maybe you want to put Alexander up for adoption. Maybe that's something you're into. I don't know. There's a lot of things that could show up there to impact the way that your Sims are thinking and feeling. The next thing I would love to see is an attraction system in this game. I want Sims to not just be able to flirt with everybody and have it go well and be attracted to every single Sim. Back in The Sims 2 days, I don't remember the attraction system in The Sims 3 or if there was one, but in The Sims 2, you would have Sims where like there'd be like these little like, I think that they were like lightning bolts next to their pictures in like the friendship panel, and it would be like, oh, I'm attracted to this Sim like a little bit, but more attracted to this Sim, and it was really fun. And you had like things that your Sims were attracted to, so they could be attracted to blonde hair or black black hair or beards or like a high career or a high skill level. And these are things that they find attractive in other Sims. And I think that that's a fun way to play the game. So your Sim might be a gold digger, and then their attraction system would be like, okay, I love Sims who are in like level 10 of their career. I love rich Sims, and I love Sims that have gray hair because we want that rich daddy money. So it'd be fun to be able to have that. So your Sims are going to move towards certain people, flirt with certain people, find certain Sims attractive, and be able to gear your gameplay in that way. Having this attraction system might seem like something small because you can just go choose those kinds of Sims yourself, but it does make it more fun when you're able to just be like, I'm gonna go find a rich man and have those be the things that you want. Or maybe you're really into Sims who have beards and you love a lumberjack type Sim. That could be something you could add. You know, there's so many options for an attraction system, and I think that it would just change the way you see romance in the game entirely. The next thing I would love to see as a revamp to this game is more added lore and relationships. For those of you that don't know, Johnny Zest is actually a child of the land grabs, which is fun, but he has no relationships with them, and it really bothers me. So in his little description, it says Johnny has the stage name and the dream, but maybe not the talent. Disowned by the land grabs for quitting school, Johnny wants to make his own fame and fortune as a stand-up comedian. So this literally says, okay, he was disowned by the land grabs, but you would think that even though he was disowned by the land grabs, there would be a relationship there. He would know them. He would be aware of their existence. No, that's not how this works. When you go into a Johnny Zest save file, he has no relationships. So you're trying to tell me that the land grabs have lived in Oasis Springs, essentially, you would assume, for Johnny's entire life. He has no relationships with anyone else in the world. He has no relationships with the land grabs, you know, Jeffrey, Nancy, his apparent sibling Malcolm. He doesn't know any of them. Even negative relationships, he doesn't have any of those. Just no relationships at all with the land grabs. This bothers me more than it probably should, but that's fine. I really just want to see those kinds of relationships. I want to see the goths know the pancakes and maybe like dislike the pancakes because they're just not their type of people. And maybe Johnny's friends with the whole Zoe Patel household that lives in Oasis Springs because, you know, he left the rich life of the land grabs and now he's friends with other people. I want to see more relationships and lore. This also works for Don Lothario and the Caliente family because it says that Don is like Katrina's boy toy, I'm pretty sure, in their description. They don't even have a relationship. Like, they're just a little bit friends and that's it. And he lives in their house and it's super weird. I want to see stuff like that so badly, and it would just completely change the way that I view the game and change the way that especially new players interact with the game, because if there's that lore already built in, you're going to be so much more invested and interested in all of the relationships in the world. Like, oh look, here's your mom. And the fact that he doesn't even, oh gosh, the face she's making is so beautiful. But the fact that Johnny doesn't even know Nancy means that Johnny's able to go and flirt with Nancy and like woohoo with Nancy, but it's your mom. And they even went and after the fact added genealogy to the game, and he still doesn't know them. He doesn't know them at all. And it really irks me. I want him to have that relationship with them. I want the Calientes to have proper relationships. I want the pancakes to know people other than each other. I need these relationships in the game so badly. But there you have it, guys. Those are the ways that I would change the Sims 4 base game if I was given the chance, if I was talented, if I could code, all of those things. Obviously, I can't. I can barely even get the internet to work most days. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Let me know what you would change about the Sims 4 base game in the comments down below. I really hope that you're having an awesome day, and I will see you next time. Bye, everybody.